something that's more than I can really grasp is a difficult thing for me. And if you think that spirituality is all about emotions that are connected to all the are connected to very complex. The first questions are more on whether you agree with me or not agree with me, and throw some thoughts or light on this topic. Spiritual life versus most of these spiritual leaders talk about the metaphysics and all the things that we're talking about now, other than material life. Are they predisposed to not having the family? Should they focus on being part of the life cycle, or is it okay for them to be just preaching what life is all about, which I believe is highly questionable? It's a tough question. Beth, it's on you.
Spirituality requires being comfortable with uncertainty, because you can never really know, and the proof is in intangibilities. I would have to disagree respectfully with your premise that spiritual leaders don't pay attention to the human experience. I think in some religions, such as Catholicism, which prevents priests from marrying, we see the unnatural consequences of people being forced to avoid human expression of love. And it seeps out because life will find its way. But there are other religions that embrace family. Judaism, for example, is all about the life that we live here. There's nothing beyond. And our role is to make this a better place for our families and for nature. So I do think that they can coexist, spirituality and humanity, and it requires being quiet and calm and sensing your place in the energetic universe and being comfortable traveling with uncertainty in your life. Thank
you. Second question, material life versus spiritual life. As a society, I think that the material life, embracing material life, has worked well in a few places. Okay, and I think that has to be the basis of formation of the society. I don't know if I put that right. Rather than talking about spirituality, which is more complex, I think this material life is not bad at all. Prove me wrong, Pete.
Thank you, Dinesh. I'm going to segue a little bit to the topic, but it's on the topic of spirituality. I had a very spiritual weekend last weekend. I went to visit my son, who lives in Brooklyn, New York, and his wife and my grandson. Always seeing your grandson is a very spiritual experience. Not really my topic. So why was my visit to Brooklyn a spiritual experience? Well, I think anyone that has kids over the years has seen what I call the good, the bad, and the ugly as kids grow up. Okay? And you hope that eventually they'll come out the other side. And my son became a rabbi, an Orthodox rabbi. He's 26. He just finished college a couple of years ago. And as of January 1, at 26, he is the rabbi for a modern Orthodox synagogue in Brooklyn. So his congregants range in age from 20, and kids as well, to 80 and above. And I was at his synagogue for the first time over the weekend. Now, to me, and I spent he's the rabbi. He has to be there for the entire weekend, from Friday night all the way to Saturday night, pretty much. For me, if you told me that I was going to be in a synagogue for that number of hours, I'm fine in a synagogue, but for that number of hours, it would be like rubbing your fingernails on a blackboard. But I spent the entire weekend with my son at his synagogue, and it was like a religious experience in a very positive way. To see what he talked about in such a deep fashion was amazing, and it was spiritual to me to see what he has become. And as a father, it was just amazing for me to see that and to see his spirituality, because he had to address all the spiritual issues that his congregants asked about. And at 26, I was like, how's he going to do that? How's he going to have the wisdom to do that? But I listened, and he did, and it was amazing. Thank you.
Belief system. As we know, I don't need to explain that. Every time when people say, I believe in something, she believes in something, we can coexist very well. But there are some concepts that say that if I believe in something, I'm building a wall. You have to accept me, filter or the wall. I say that belief system is in fact a hindrance to track a good life.
I get the word of the day, and I'm predisposed to saying so I'm going to try to be conscious of that today. To me, the difference between spirituality and religion is one is institutional and organized, and the other is from within. What you believe, what you value, what you hold dear, but not just as a humanitarian, because that wouldn't necessarily mean it's spiritual, but to believe in a power higher than yourself. Some people call it infinite intelligence, some people call it God, Allah, whatever you want to call it. We believe or acknowledge that there's some intelligent force in the universe that's responsible for this existence that we have. It's not always easy we need structure, that's why we have organized religion, to give us some sort of boundaries to operate in. And we have to constantly read or meditate, to do some introspection so that we stay the course, because our natural propensity is to fall into needs, desires, emotions, and so that's why we have things like the Ten Commandments or the Dalai Lama's importance on not getting angry and loving every sentinel being, those sorts of things. So every now and then that acts as a mid-course correction for me. I know I deviate, especially in traffic, and we need